Hello there and welcome to the video. I just wanted to give you my impressions of the Ghost Recon Breakpoint beta, what I thought of it. Me and my mates actually had a good time playing it. Now I did play Ghost Recon Wildlands, which came out in 2017, and we really enjoyed that too. And if you've played Wildlands, then pretty much know what you're in store for with Breakpoint. It's a very similar experience, but to Ubisoft's credit, they have mixed it up a bit. It's actually classed as a tactical shooter, but I actually think it's more of a looter shooter really. There definitely is tactics there. If you play on a higher difficulty setting, I think the tactics would come more into play. Now there are different classes that you can choose from, and you can switch between them as you want to. So you can play it more stealthily, or you can play it more gung-ho, just go in there shooting. And that's pretty much what me and my mates did. We did put up drones to scope out the place, and we did do a bit of flanking as well. It was quite good though, the AI. We did get pinned down by snipers at certain points, which was quite fun. Now it's a third person game. When you aim down sights, it goes to first person, but for vehicles, driving around, flying around in helicopters, even on the boats, on the river, you are in third person. That's not to everybody's preference. I don't mind it. I quite like it for driving around in vehicles. And the best part of the game really wasn't really the shooting for me. It was actually just goofing around with my mates, going from place to place in the vehicles to do the missions. All jumping on the helicopter, one of us flying it, going up into the sky, jumping out the helicopter with your parachutes. I think the motorbikes actually handled a bit better in Wildlands. I'd have to go back and check, but I felt that they didn't handle as well. But otherwise the vehicles were very good. There's a lot of variety in the weapons. Now Wildlands was set in Bolivia, and it was done really well. It was a fantastic open world environment, fantastic vistas. It was really bright and sunny, and lots of variety in the terrain. But this time around, Ubisoft have come up with a sort of imaginary sort of fantasy island. Doesn't really exist. It's in the Pacific Ocean somewhere. It's predominantly a foresty environment. There are lagoons and wetland areas, and there's a big snowy mountain. I think it's supposed to be volcanic, but I didn't really see any evidence of that. But personally, I don't think the island is as big as I remember Bolivia being, and I don't think it's got as much variety as I remember in Bolivia. It's done really, really well. I mean, the forest areas are really dense with foliage. I played it at 30 frames a second on the PS4 Pro. There are two graphic settings on the PS4 Pro. You can choose to favour resolution or graphic fidelity. Mine was default to graphic fidelity because I play at 1080p. I don't have a 4K monitor, and it looked really nice. The lighting effects in the forest were really beautifully done. I definitely think the graphic engine is probably improved a bit over Wildlands, but then of course it has been a few years, a couple of years since Wildlands, so I'm sure they've been working on it. It seemed a bit more gritty, a bit darker because you're in these dense forests. I actually think personally I preferred Bolivia, but they did get a lot of flack from the Bolivian government. The Bolivian government didn't like the fact that their country had been portrayed as a narco state. So to avoid any controversy, I think they've gone for like a fantasy location. I really liked the start of the game. It really was well done. The story parts, the cutscenes are really well done. It's quite different to Wildlands. In Wildlands you had this cartel, and there was different bosses you had to take out. The boss structure of the cartel was portrayed in the game, so you had to kind of take out the smaller bosses, and there's some really colourful characters, and then take on the main final boss. This time around it seems to be more story driven. There is a lot of cutscenes. You can skip them, but we'll have to wait for the full game to see how the story pans out. There is a PvP mode, 4v4. I had a quick go of it. I only had a quick go because it crashed on me. And I thought I took that as a sign as maybe I should leave that for the final release. But it looks serviceable. I'm not really into third-person PvP. I didn't really enjoy it in the Division that much, but yeah, it's there if you want it. So if you want a bit of PvP action, Ubisoft have got your back. Now, just like in Wildlands, if you do play solo, and you can play solo, you do need a permanent internet connection, and you have 3 AI-controlled companions. It seemed okay. Obviously, having real people to play with is much better, but there is that option there if you want to play solo. Now, they do seem to have leaned more into sort of the RPG elements. There is a leveling system, there are lots of skills you can unlock, and even your gear, like your clothes, aren't just cosmetic, they add to your stats as well. Okay, yes, I think the game is really good. I think Ubisoft Paris have done a fantastic job with it. It's definitely AAA. It plays really well. It's 30 frames a second. Obviously, if it's 60, it would be a lot smoother. But on the PlayStation Pro, it looked really nice. I love the lighting in the forest, some really nice vistas as well. It is a forested area, so driving through the foresty bits off-road can be a bit tricky. But when you go up into the more elevated areas, there are some really nice views. And there is this sort of defence system that's guarding the island. And we saw this defence system in action when we was flying around in the helicopter. And it did look really cool. The game comes out on the 4th of October, so that's only literally like a few days away. But I just wanted to give you my impression of the beta, just in case you're thinking about buying the game and you didn't get a chance to play the beta. Now, Destiny is my favourite game, and Shadowkeep DLC is coming out on the 1st, so I'm going to be playing that. I won't be playing Breakout. So Breakout's kind of arrived at an unfortunate time for me. But I will definitely pick it up later on. It's definitely a game that me and my mates will enjoy playing when the Destiny content sort of dies down. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this video, and goodbye for now.